Hi everybody, this is Katina from the Clarinet Project, and today I'm going to be trying and unboxing some Backun mouthpieces. So I haven't even started to unbox this great FedEx box, so you will be here with me for the whole unboxing portion. And I just have to make sure I have the volume off here so that we can't hear anything. So give me 1 second for technical details. Anyway, so we're going to unbox this box and we are going to see some mouthpieces, try some mouthpieces, hear some mouthpieces, and I will intersperse any mouthpiece advice that I have, mouthpiece trying advice too, while I go about it. So, as always, ask questions. There will be representatives from Backun and Eastman here to help me answer them because, as you know, sometimes these can go pretty quickly and I can't get to all of the questions. So just a couple quick hellos. So Epic Fails, hi, and XX Face, hi, and Samuel, hi, Zara, hi, Franklin Unknown, Farah, hi. Lots of people here today, which is really fun. All right, so I have my handy dandy Swiss Army knife, which I also use as a reed knife too. I just have to make sure it stays sharp from all the unboxing that I've been doing recently. So I should be doing knife safety tips as well. So I'm gonna open this up a little bit here so that you can see it. And we're gonna start with just what's in the box. So it looks like we've got some packaging material. And oh wow, look at these. I love these little cases. They're adorable. It's like a tiny suitcase. Oh my God, they're so much fun. All right, so I have these great cases to try them out, and then I have a Mouthpiece Chart informational piece of paper, which if anybody knows me in real life or knows from some other the Ask a Clarinet teachers, when people start asking me for specs, it's just like my eyes glaze over. So that's why I'm really glad to have people here to help me. All right, so okay, and not only is it a Backun mouthpiece chart, but it looks like it's comparing other mouthpieces as well. So we've got the Vocalise and Backun and Van Doren, Hawkins, Phobes, D'Addario. So we've got a lot of choices here to compare our mouthpieces to. Now, I'm going to talk about how I choose a mouthpiece. So number one, it's really important that you protect the mouthpiece that you're trying. So I'm going to open up the case and see what the mouthpieces look like. If they don't have a mouthpiece patch, go ahead and put a mouthpiece patch on it. If you don't feel like paying for lots of mouthpiece patches, hi Franklin, go ahead and just reuse the same one over and over again. You just want to make sure that you're not damaging the mouthpieces. So I have two in here to try. It looks like we've got a crystal Vocalise mouthpiece, and we have another Vocalise mouthpiece right there. And let's see what's in this one. I love these cases. Hi, Sean. It's so good to see you. All right, and then we have lots of Vocalises, but I don't know all the specific ones. So as I pull them out and try them, I'll tell you which ones they are. Okay, and they have mouthpiece patches on them. So I'm using a soft ligature today because I don't want to use a metal ligature on these mouthpieces. I don't want to scratch them or anything like that. If you have a metal ligature and you do not have a soft ligature when you're trying mouthpieces, you can put some painter's tape on your mouthpiece. So I prefer to put the painter's tape on over masking tape because masking tape will leave a sticky residue, whereas painter's tape comes off really nice and easily, and then you're not damaging the mouthpiece because we want to, we want to be respectful when we're trying out equipment. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, very much the same as when I was trying out the clarinet in other clarinet trial videos that I've done. I am going to play the F major scale 3 octaves just to see how it feels, and then I will do it articulated. So I do it slurred once and then articulated, and that's it. I'm just going to keep it nice and easy. I'm going to start with my mouthpiece that I'm currently using, and Joel, I bought this mouthpiece from you a long time ago, but I don't know which one it is. So I have a Backun mouthpiece on here, but I am going to pass on telling you which one it is until maybe I take the ligature off and I know some more. So I'm going to start with this F major scale. And now I'm going to do an articulated one. And for sake of time, I'm not going to do that one up and down. Okay, So I'm taking off my reed and my ligature and my mouthpiece, and I will see what it says on here. And it says MOBA, and there's a little pretty swirly thing, but it is well worn, this mouthpiece. So I'm gonna put that there, okay? Now, the other thing that I need to have is a piece of paper with me, so that I can take notes on how I feel about the mouthpieces. That's a great way for me to keep track of it. So I'm gonna start with my mouthpiece, okay? But I'm not gonna write any notes down with my mouthpiece because I'm not really comparing it to anything, and it has a comfort zone for me. So I am used to that mouthpiece, which means subconsciously I will adjust for intonation problems, I will adjust for articulation problems, I will adjust for different parts of the clarinet. So I'm just gonna have a column for my mouthpiece, and if I think of anything, I'll write that note in there. Now, I'm gonna go through, and for the first mouthpiece that I'm going to try, I feel like I'm playing a birthday party game. And for the first one, I'm gonna try. So this says it's the Hawkins Backun G. And it says right there, let me see if I can get it to focus, but it's right there, there's a little G. So that's how I know which one this is. I'm gonna notate that on my chart in my column, so that it's very official. Look how organized I am. And so then I can write notes on the G mouthpiece, because I want to just get my very first impressions. And then as I go through all the mouthpieces, then I will be able to know more about them. I forgot one thing that I need for trying mouthpieces is cork grease. So you don't want to be forcing the cork in here because you can damage it. So, and I should have caught that one before I started, to have some cork grease handy so that I can just get this on nice and easily, because, oh, this is one of my old ones and I have to scoop it out with my fingernail. That's gonna be super efficient. You want it to go easily, right, and smoothly, but also we don't want to be damaging anything. Once again, always be respectful of the equipment you're trying, because it does not belong to you. It belongs to whoever you're trying it from. And now I have cork grease all over my fingers, which means I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on another mouthpiece real quick, because ew. And then I'm gonna wipe it on my pants. Actually, I'm wearing a dress right now, so I'm just gonna wipe it on my dress. Okay, so this is the G. Let's hear how this baby sounds. I've got it on my mouthpiece. Oh wow, it's nice. It lines up nicely here. I'm also all about ease of putting on mouthpieces and ligatures. I have definitely been known to bail on a ligature really quickly if it's hard to put it on and have the reed line up. And also if when I take my mouthpiece off when I'm changing clarinets, depending on whether or not I'm doing it by mouthpiece or by the barrel, if the ligature comes off, that makes me very angry. So I actually pick ligatures based on that as well. So mouthpieces too. I want them to come off nice and easily if I have a quick change. All right, let's see how this one is. Okay, so my first thoughts for that one for me, and really another thing that's very important about choosing mouthpieces, is have somebody else listening to you. So hopefully my husband is still outside my door in the living room, and maybe he can give some feedback later on, because he's another pair of ears. It's always important to have another pair of ears, because we hear it inside our minds. You know, when you put a mouthpiece in your mouth and it's vibrating against your teeth, you do not get the same sound experience that somebody outside of you does. So, you know, if you really want to try that out, get a tuning fork and hit the tuning fork on something and then put it on your tooth, and you will hear it in your whole head. And that's the same thing that's happening when we're trying instruments and mouthpieces and playing. Okay, so for me, first thoughts, the G was a little stuffier inside my mind, but I'm guessing outside it projects better than I'm hearing it. So it feels a little stuffier and a little more resistant than I'm used to, but it's not bad. I've had mouthpieces where I'm like, no, sorry, this is too much for me. And then I try a lighter reed, and then it works better for me. So far, my reed works nicely on this one. So the stuffy and resistant feeling isn't so bad, but I would want to go back to this one and do some dynamic exercises to see how well I can control the dynamics. Articulation also is nice, especially in the lower register. But I had to work a little harder to get the articulations in the altissimo range. So I'm also writing that down too. Now, what's very important about trying mouthpieces and for you to get from me with reviewing mouthpieces, these things that aren't quite what I'm looking for in a mouthpiece has nothing to do with the quality of the mouthpiece, and it has everything to do with the quality of me. So when you're finding a mouthpiece, it's totally different for you than it would be for me. We have totally different mouths, totally different teeth, totally different tongue positions, and totally different bodies and clarinets and reeds. Tons of things go into it. So that's why when band directors say to me, what mouthpiece should I put my entire clarinet section on? I always have a little tiny heart attack, and and I have to explain that we can't put everybody on the same mouthpiece. It's impossible to do that. So I recommend people trying mouthpieces to find the best personal fit. So I'll be talking about different things that make it sound perhaps like this isn't the best mouthpiece, but it's not maybe the best match for me. So that was my first impression for the G. I just want to play it one more time because I talked a lot in between. So once again, inside my mind, that feels a little stuffy. Side of my body, and for anybody else listening, it might not be. So go ahead and comment in here if you hear something differently than I am describing. There are many, many great and famous clarinet players that if you were sitting right next to them, they'd have these spitty, stuffy sounds, but out in the hall, they have these big, gorgeous sounds. So that's right there, just my first thought. What I like about doing the crescendo and decrescendo exercise too is I'm listening for pitch. I haven't talked about pitch yet because my phone is what I'm using for the live stream, and that is also my tuner. So I looked for my old backup tuner from college and I couldn't find it. So anyway, when I just did those little crescendo and decrescendos, I'm not finding that much variation in pitch, which is really, really important to me. So moving on. So that's the G. I'm going to put it over here because it's really important to be able to come back to the mouthpieces. So I'm just going to line them up right there. Okay, next one here is the H. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here. Do you ever have that thing when you're putting a mouthpiece on and you've put or any part of your clarinet together and you have cork grease on the cork and then it gets all squished around there? Yeah, that just happened. Always clean that out, but it can be super gross. For a while, when I was in college, I would just use chapstick instead of cork grease because I was trying to kill two birds with one stone and have chapstick in my case and have cork grease, but chapstick is not as good as cork grease. It's, for lips, and cork grease is for corks, and it would get really gummy and gross. All right, here's the H. All right, so this one is even more stuffy, first thought for me, but it's more resistant and it's harder to play. This would be one I would try a softer reed on. So I am also putting a lot more air in this than I'm comfortable with. I also just ate a really big lunch and I'm kind of lazy and it's hot outside and I have all my bazillion excuses. But so this one's taking a little bit more work for me. I would try a softer reed, and I do have a softer reed with me today, but I do want to do the articulations. With this one getting a clean articulation, so I'm going to put this in a different spot because I want to come back to this one with a different reed. And don't be surprised when you're going and trying mouthpieces that you may find that you end up with a different reed strength than you used to, because the mouthpieces are different and for different things that you want. So even though I said that one was kind of stuffy and resistant for me, I liked it. I liked the sound that I was getting from it. It was very smooth throughout the registers, and I wasn't finding much change in there, which I really, really like. So that is something I'm going to note and come back to that one. Okay, so I did like the sound, so I'm going to notate that. I had some trouble with the articulations, especially in the altissimo, but let's try a different reed and see how it goes with that one. I also still have 3 more mouthpieces to try. So I used to have a Hawkins mouthpiece, which I adored. I felt I could articulate so fast on it. It was really, really a fun mouthpiece. Okay, so this is an R mouthpiece. Also, he's really nice. I kind of count that stuff. Okay, I'm gonna grab my reed. Joel and Tim, if you're on here, I haven't looked at any questions or comments yet, so please feel free to, I know you're already doing it, but fill in and answer questions for people too. And Sean's here also. He knows a lot about these products. Okay. Wow. So I like this one. This is a big bright sound, which I like, but not too bright. So it's not spread, it's bright, as in sparkly, but dark sparkles, which I like. And it's more open feeling. It's easier for me to play this one. I don't like to work really hard for my equipment to sound the way I want it to. I want my equipment to work really hard for me so that I can concentrate on other things. So I like this one so far. I really like the sound. It's a little, maybe it might be a little too open sounding for people out there. So this would be one where I would definitely want to have feedback from somebody else that's with me. So let me write down, but that was a big difference. I felt like the G and the H weren't that far apart. And they obviously had differences, but that one had a big different sound. I hope you guys could hear that too. So what did I say that one was? That's the R. Are these his initials? Okay. So big sound, kind of bright, but not the bad bright that people talk about. Yeah, I liked the articulations. And the other thing that you want to think about is, what are your goals of playing? What kind of player are you, right? You know, so are you a jazz player? Are you a classical player? Are you a band player? Are you going to need to be blending a lot with people? Are you doing a lot of chamber music? What are you doing chamber music with string players? And what is your personal concept of sound? So what are you going for? So when I work with students to pick mouthpieces, one of the things that I talk a lot about is being ready to choose a mouthpiece, and a lot of it has to do with your ears. Like if you're looking for a sound concept and you're not able to get it through long turns and warm-ups and working on all of your technical aspects of your embouchure, then it's time to try out mouthpieces to see if you can find the one that you're looking for there. What happens, and I notice this with myself too, is that when we get used to our mouthpieces, we kind of drift back into where our sound kind of was before. So really most of the sound work is us. And like I said, you want your mouthpiece and your equipment to work for you to achieve that goal. So go into it with what your goals are too. Okay, so I liked that. I'm doing the good bright. Okay, and then I'm curious to see what you guys like, because you're hearing it, and I didn't put a microphone on my phone today, so you're getting the great quality mic on my iPhone 11. So let me put some cork grease on this one. So this one I'm pulling in right now looks like a 7. Yeah. No, it's a Z. Yes, it's a Z. You know, you hit 40 and you just keep going. And I've got glasses right now. But you notice it gets a little harder to read the tiny print. At least for some of us. Okay, so it's a Z. I kind of feel like I'm talking about Teslas. Like, it's the 3, it's the S. Okay, all right, here we go. I'm gonna use my dress once again to wipe my fingers on because I'm super classy that way. All right, let's see how we like this one, the Z. I'm excited about the crystal one too. Can you guys, Joel or Tim or Sean, or anybody else on here that knows, can you write what material is that? If that's really, if that's crystal, or if that's a composite. That's what I would like to know. Okay. I'm just double checking to make sure there's a patch on there. too. What I'm really liking is the consistency that all these mouthpieces are getting through the range of the instrument. So regardless of how the mouthpiece is playing for me, whether it's stuffy or if it's open or if it's bright or if it's dark, the consistency throughout is really, really nice. This one was a little low in the pitch for the F for me, and I just brought it up by raising my tongue position in the back. I did an E, so that raised that pitch up there. But boy, is it lovely to do the articulations. I'm not really working very hard. I'm still supporting and I'm doing all my good habits there. But one of the earlier, oh, I forgot to write notes for the last one. Anyway, I forgot to write that in my notes, but one of them was hard to get a clean articulation on, but this one is really, really easy to articulate on. They're popping a little bit, but I'm also trying to do them really quietly. And I haven't found a good reed match for this guy either. My reed feels a little wonky, but once again, that's easy to fix by trying different reeds. So I like this one too. So the Z is in my good pile also. So far I have 3 in my good pile for me, and then 1 in my questionable pile that I'd like to try another reed on. All right, so we've got one last mouthpiece. Oh, and it does have a patch on it too. Thank you guys very much for putting patches on these for me. That makes it a lot easier. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure there's cork grease on it. And then I really have to throw away this tube of cork grease because this is getting pathetic. Keep scooping them out. It is not a new reed. I'm not playing a new reed. I'm playing a reed that is a good reed on my, thanks Sean for that question, it's a good one. I'm playing the reed that I like on my old mouthpiece. And the reason why I want to do that is because that's my comfort zone. I don't want to be trying out reeds to see if I like reeds while I'm trying out mouthpieces and then I'm not getting good feedback. So what I do is I use a reed that is a happy reed for me, one of my favorite reeds. This is it looks like it says CG on here. I can hold that up. So there it is. So yeah, I use a reed that is and I use the same reed the entire time. And then once I find a mouthpiece that makes me happy and I want to keep playing it, then I'll play around with different reeds. Yeah. But that's an excellent question. Yeah, don't be trying out reeds while you're trying out mouthpieces right in the beginning, because it's gonna throw it off a little bit. I'm gonna take my ring off. Okay, let's see if I'm having trouble lining this one up, but it's because my hands are covered with cork grease. I'm definitely gonna have to wipe down all these mouthpieces. Okay, here we go. Also, you know, you have to take into consideration the comfort zone factor of your old one. So we get used to our old mouthpieces. We get used to our old reeds, right? Because as they change through time, it's very, very gradual. And it can take years for mouthpieces to change, right? And so we're used to that, and it might not be good. You know, we might have actually compromised sound and things like that. All right, I spent all that work getting that mouthpiece on here, and it's not quite lined up. So I'm just going to move my barrel this time instead of the whole mouthpiece. Isn't that sweet? That altissimo range is really beautiful, very sweet. That's lovely. I really like that sound up there. It's a little stuffier in that lower range than I like, but once again, this could just be my reed with this batch of mouthpieces. It's also possible my reed is getting a little sick of this. But this one is just pretty sound in the altissimo. I really like that. Okay, so I didn't write down for the Z either, which I should have, and that's also why it's nice to have somebody else with you, because they can help with that. So for the CG, beautiful altissimo, That's really nice. And that is really important because it's very hard to get a beautiful sound up in that altissimo. It takes a lot of work. So if you're going to have a mouthpiece that's doing some of that work for you, that's fantastic. It's really, really good. So beautiful altissimo, easy to articulate. So I really like that one too. Now, this is hard to do since I'm with all of you and I'm all by myself in my house. But if you can do a mouthpiece test with somebody else, I would do a blind test so that you're not looking at them, and have somebody just, you know, put the mouthpiece on there and hand it to you. Put the mouthpiece on there and hand it to you. And it doesn't have to be blindfolded, right? But don't look at the little model numbers or anything like that, and just have somebody sit there and just give you flat feedback right there, right then and there. I know personally I am partial to crystal mouthpieces, so you know, and I don't think this is the case, but sometimes that can color your choices as well. So, okay, so what I'm going to do is pause for a second and just look at some of the questions and look at the chat because it's been pretty busy. But I just want to see what people are talking about. So I'm going to go back. Sam, I'm excited too. And Tim says hi. Joel says hi. Epic Fails, hi. Franklin, hi. Sean says hello. And Joel is answering my question from way back when. It's the Vocalise CG. It's not crystal, but a proprietary synthetic that plays like a crystal. It does. Okay, and this is a little nerdy. I like the sound of crystal mouthpieces, but I hate how they feel in my mouth. Listen, I know that I can drop a pressurized rubber mouthpiece and I can shatter that or break the tip off the same as, you know, dropping a crystal mouthpiece, but just having the crystal in my mouth makes me uncomfortable, and this does not feel that way. It feels really nice, and that's important. You're going to be spending a lot of time with these mouthpieces, so I like how this feels better than a crystal one, and that's just me because I'm neurotic. Okay, and then Joel's asking me the letter. Oh, thank you, Epic Fails. And Tim has answered which ones I'm playing, and I think Joel, that's the one. Wow, you have a good memory. And then ligature and reed that I'm playing, I have a D'Addario Reserve on here, and then this ligature is a Rovner, and it is the Van Gogh, which I think is the best name ever because every time I think of Van Gogh, I think of him cutting his ear off to impress that girl. Okay, so Epic Fails, you have something that got hidden, so I'm going to see what happens, what you said. Oh, thank you for subscribing. Hi, Tyler. Joel says, yes, Richard Grant Hawkins. That's hilarious. I love it. And Sean asked about the reed, and I answered that one already. And you include a fresh, thank you, Joel, for, Backun, for sending that fresh patch with every mouthpiece. Not only is it very nice, but it's also a great way to protect your mouthpieces for when people are trying them. Because not everybody is going to know that, you know, and then you get a mouthpiece back that has some of the marks on it, and that's just a bummer. Okay. And then Sean says he suggests a new reed because the table reed adapts, to the table. Okay, Sean, I will do that. I will grab a reed. And then Joel says, totally, there's a lot of feedback from crystal in the oral pharynx. I don't know what I said that did that. Okay, so I'm going to take Sean's advice right now and try a new reed. So let me get a reed out. I'm just going to pull one out of the box. Hopefully I like it. But if I was really smart about it, I'd be soaking this bad boy in water. So I'm going to put my older one away. Now, let me just clarify. When I say older, Sean, it's not that old. Like, I opened it up and tried it out yesterday so that I'd have one. I tried a bunch of reeds yesterday so that I had one that I was happy with yesterday. So it's not like I was playing on this bad boy for 6 weeks. That doesn't happen. I don't do that. Not me. Okay. All right, so this is a newer one. Gosh, that altissimo range is beautiful, isn't it? I just can't get over that. So sweet and nice and easy to play. Yeah, so far this is my favorite one. But with the new mouthpiece or the new reed, let's go through these bad boys real fast so we can see if we hear any difference. Sean, please let me know if you hear differences too. Oh no, which one's the new one? I actually know which one the new one is because I keep notes. I take notes on my reeds to see how they play, and I actually write them on the back of the reeds in pencil, so you can't really see it because of the light, but I have a little note back there on this reed, which says, not bad. But I used to write it with green marker, and that took one day of wetting that reed and then getting green marker all over my chin and then not knowing it was there, and all my friends are like, anyway, so some people keep little notebooks, which I've seen, which I think is adorable, and I love that. Okay, so wait, I need to know which one this is. This is the Z. What's the Z for? Okay, Zinner for the Zinner blank, which is a nice homage to the Zinners because they've done so much for us. Wow, see, I like this reed better, Sean. Thank you for the advice. Now it's a little brighter than I like up in that top register. I really, really have a crush on the CG mouthpiece because of the altissimo, but now I have a crush on this one because of the lower range. That's a really rich, beautiful, dark sound. I like that ring in there. It's really, really nice. This would be one I would try a different ligature on too, to see if I can get that same altissimo beauty that I'm getting in this one, or I try a different ligature on this one to see if I can get more of this ring in this mouthpiece, but I don't want to give up this altissimo. That was absolutely just the prettiest. All right, but I really like the Z with the new reed too. Yeah, I'm always a little nervous about doing the new reeds because what if I don't get a good one that I'm happy with? All right, here we go. But Sean, thank you very much for that tip. What I love about having social media today, I'm dating myself right now because we didn't have this stuff when I was a student and for the bulk of my early adulthood. So that's not necessarily true, but now we can talk to each other, right? I can play these for you and then Sean can say, hey, you know what, why don't you try this? And it's better than the advice I gave, you know? So that's what's really amazing about being able to have social media and interaction with each other, is that we can share our knowledge and help make everybody better. Okay, so this one is the R, and it's a little too bright for me with the new reed, but I liked it with my old reed. So now I'm starting to narrow things down a bit. So I like the Z and the CG, but this one's a little too bright for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one, I'm gonna have a pile of yeses and nos and maybes. So this one's gonna go over into my maybe spots. I have 2 in my yes spots. And then let's try the G. And then, of course, my final step really, and this is so important, is to do the intonation. But I have found through the years that this is like the #1 thing I've noticed with the Backun products is the care and attention to intonation, accuracy. And so I trust them very much. I mean, that's why my other mouthpiece is a Backun, because of the intonation also, as you know, as well as the sound. Okay, so I like this one now better than the Z with this lower range. It doesn't feel as stuffy to me. Beautiful, rich sound, right? Now it's a little brighter than I would like in the upper range, probably because I'm still, you know, trying to get over my my feelings for the CG. But I like the rest of the clarinet. And once again, you know, throughout the registers, they're very, very smooth. I'm not noticing any notes popping or sticking out. So I've got 2 in my yes. Now, Sean, I'm really excited to try the H again, because that was one I put into my maybe closer to the no category. And so I want to see if this new reed makes a difference for me. And then, just out of curiosity, I'm going to try my old one, my old mouthpiece. But I've had that MOBA for so long that it's always fun to go back and play your old mouthpiece after you've tried a bunch of new ones to see what you notice with your old one that you've been compensating for the entire time. Now, once again, this one, just like I said before, the G and the H don't feel that much different to me. But there is a difference. So I'm okay with saying goodbye to the H for me. It's still a little too spread. So I'm going to put that over here. But yeah, and then, go back and forth with narrowing it down. If you can hold on to a mouthpiece when you're trying it out for a little bit longer, that also helps get you an idea of what it is. But usually we don't have that luxury. Usually we've gone into the music shop or we're at a clarinet convention where you have to kind of pick that day. And my suggestion in that case is try and find a quiet room. You don't want to be trying them out with tons of other people playing instruments all around you. One, it's hard to hear, but also there's that aspect of, what's it called when you feel a little self-conscious, right? So if you're trying mouthpieces and, somebody's sitting next to you playing the Hina-Stereo variations, it can be kind of intimidating, and that's not what you're there for. You're not there to show off. You're not there to impress all the other people you'll never see again. You're there just to try a mouthpiece to find something that works for you. So if you're finding that that's getting in your way and distracting you, just ask if you can go into another location and try it out. Sometimes they will have you do like a a deposit or leave your license, but so don't be surprised when that happens. Usually they don't. Wow, that's my old one. Did you hear that? So I am putting a lot more air through these newer mouthpieces than my old mouthpiece. Wow, so this one, my old one, is brighter than I want. So I've been probably letting certain things slide. And remember how with my other reed it was feeling stuffy with a lot of the mouthpieces, and it didn't have that with this one? Is because my reed that I was using on this is actually also a little harder than the reed I pulled out of the box. And so when I'm trying to find a reed that works with this mouthpiece, I think I need a little bit a stronger reed strength than I was with the other one. So I lucked out with picking a reed that was a little bit lighter, which helped those mouthpieces play nicely for me. But that's a big difference. It's a little too spread for me once I get over the break, especially in the altissimo. Yeah, so I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep trying those mouthpieces and just going through it. Maybe I can do an Instagram live. You guys got the YouTube one, and I can do an Instagram live and just talk about the same kind of thing and talk about what I'm listening for there, so that people can try them with me that way. But yeah, so it's always interesting. I always have this little panic fear that when I'm trying mouthpieces and then I go back to my old mouthpiece, I'm going to like my old mouthpiece better. Not that that's bad. I've saved myself some money kind of thing. But I don't like my old mouthpiece. I like all the new ones better. So I'm going to take some time to try them out, and I'm definitely going to pull my husband into this scenario because he's also a musician and he has a wonderful ear, and so it's always good to have somebody else help out when you can. All right, I'm going to go back and look at some of the comments that I have. Okay. And once again, oh, I'm having some people. Okay, no, Hawkins decided he was never going to make a mouthpiece larger than this, so we called it the Z, the end of the line. Oh, that's good. And Sean says CG is my pick too. Yeah, God, I really have feelings for that mouthpiece. And then Sean says, sorry, my sentence didn't make sense. I mean that the reed adapts to the table, trying to feed a 2-year-old lunch while watching. I have been there. And then Joel says, thank you. We love what we do and put a lot of thought and effort into the design, manufacturing, and packaging your products. Absolutely. Not only do I see that with your products, but also the customer service is exemplary at Backun. I've had students through the years that have had trouble with different things with their instruments, and the personal response that they have received and the personal attention with solving their problem has been also exemplary. So I would just like to acknowledge that because it's really, really nice, especially when you're working with young people, and it can be intimidating. It can be scary to you know, reach out to a big company, and it's also scary to talk to adults sometimes. I feel like young people aren't given that respect and trust and equality, and so I've had students reach out to Backun, and they've been treated just the same as if I was reaching out to Backun, and their problems were treated seriously and solved for them. And very personally as well, and that unfortunately maybe hasn't been the experience that some of my people have had in other places, but I think it's important to recognize that. And so Sean says you can use a 1/4 to half strength softer, so you don't need to break in the reed before trialing. Other good advice too. And then Sean said, I just realized watching 7 minutes behind somehow. Sorry if my questions have been seeming very delayed. No, it doesn't. Don't worry about it, Sean. You were here for the clarinet one, which was like insanity with all the questions. So yeah, no, everybody's behind. I always feel like a fool when I'm like, and hi, you just said something 30 minutes ago. And Tim says, thank you. You sound great on all of them. Thank you very much. And then we have another Epic Fails that's been held for review. Epic Fails, are you trying to get people to sub to your, thank you for subscribing, Epic Fails. Joel, thank you for the heart. And then Epic Fails, you may be trying to get people to sub to your channel, which is fine. I don't mind bumping people along to other people's channels. I just want you to know that YouTube will hold those comments for review. So it might not come up in this. But I am happy to do a YouTube video on how to gain followers and, you know, gain traction on your YouTube channel. So Zagram, I like that name. I ended up with an R because it seemed closest to the Phobes debut, and I really loved it. And oh, you subbed to me, thank you. And I can sub to you. Everybody sub to each other, and we all support each other in our community. And Sean Perrin, if you're not subscribed to the Clarinet podcast and his channel, please do. It's wonderful. And the Backun channel has a lot of very educational videos as well. So check those out too. And thank you, Epic Fails. And thank you, everybody. I mean, 5 mouthpieces is a lot to try. There's a lot in there. And so, but I'm looking forward. I hope you guys got some good pointers out of this. And just thank you so much. I'm just going to double check that I got all of the comments in here. Yes, Sean Perrin, so he's on here, so you can go to his YouTube channel too, and maybe it has links to Sean. You yeah, go ahead and try and put Clarinet in there. But yeah, definitely check out his podcast also. But thank you, Backun, for sending these mouthpieces for me to try. I'm really looking forward to spending a little bit more time with them and not, you know, trying to balance a live stream. Joel and Sean and Tim, thank you for helping out with answering questions and monitoring things while I didn't get a chance to look at it. And thank you, everybody, for watching. I wouldn't have this YouTube channel if it wasn't for all of you and everybody subscribing and commenting, and just, I want you to all know I'm really appreciative. So I'll keep you updated. And there is an episode with me. Thank you. Yes, I had a lot of fun talking to Sean in one of the episodes of Clarinet. So anyway, everybody, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Go outside if it's beautiful where you are, or maybe not. And I will talk more with everybody later. Bye.